Look, greetings to the world. Massive respect. They have so many Lee in their current team and Kim in this current team. You're going to hear more of them. Yes, but a very strong Czechia team in their own rights. I think it will be a physical team. It will be nasty. It will be a lot of chaos around their football. It will be a lot of direct plays. If you look and observe this Czechia team, throughout their qualification round here, they scored 7 goals with their head and 8 goals with the left foot and 7 goals with the right foot and 1 penalty. And you look at some of their plays, and if you look at the Ireland game, their last 2 competitive games before they start to play the bulk of international friendly game, and you want to look at it where they played Ireland first, they beat them, and also I think that was on penalty, and also they went on to beat the Danish team on penalty as well. So they conceded 2 goals in the last 2 competitive games, and this is a team that run through the entire World Cup campaign, the World Cup qualifier campaign, and also not managed to keep a clean sheet versus Gibraltar, Montenegro, Croatia, and Faroe Island. And you look at that squad, they have height, but then they not managed to really keep a solid clean sheet. Faroe Island beat this Czechia team. They lost 2 games, one against Faroe Islands and one versus Croatia in their group stage to get to the World Cup. So if you look at the Korea team, as well, I think they're very comfortable run right through their qualification round in the 4th stage over in Asia as well. They also manage not to lose any game as well. And if you look at even the Asian game, when Jurgen Klinsmann was the coach, they have a group in the Asian game, against Bahrain, Jordan, and also Malaysia, and they managed to finish second. So this South Korea team, they have highs and they have lows, but a very experienced team, very good, playing the modern type of away football as well, relentless pressing, fast transition game, very structural defending as well. Like to play with a back three, but when defending as well, it could be compact with two banks of four and two men up front, shielding their goal as well. So, I think they are a bit diverse in their formation. And also Czechia, have a new coach. You have only managed a team in two competitive games, and that was the two last games to get into the World Cup. His name is Miroslav Kubak. A Czech Republic coach, very experienced, 70 plus years old as well. And also Korea, I think when Jurgen Klinsmann got sacked right after that last, where South Korea lost, I think, in the semi-final versus Jordan, where Jordan went on to play Qatar in the Asian game and got smacked in the final 3-1. So after that semi-final versus Jordan, South Korea, the board, the federation decided that we need to part way with Jurgen Klinsmann, and that was the end of Jurgen Klinsmann tenure. And now they're currently with a fairly decent new coach who have 20 plus games at this moment for the South Korea team. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think two teams play way different from each other. I said it, the South Korea team play modern football. We're talking about pressing, aggressive pressing. A team often press high up the pitch and try to force turnovers. And if you look at this Czechia team, they are not the best going forward, and they are not the best defending. What they do very well is to get the ball into the box, and then they create a lot of chaos, which I said they have scored around 8 goals in the World Cup qualifier with their head. And I think quite a few goals came from because of the ball got distributed into the box, or it was a long throw, or it was the second ball coming off by a corner kick, something. So these are the types of stuff that South Korea are going to have to deal with. And this Czechia public team, their average height around their squad, especially the main core of players that you think is going to start in this game coming up later from now, they average around 6'1", 6'2", and the entire back line, they have around 6'2", 6'3". I think the shortest player that will start in that defensive block will be Kufal, and he's around 5'9", 5'10" as well. But the South Korea team, on the other hand, they are one of the better team of the but he's much a better player at the international level than what we have seen in the Premier League so far as well. And Sulch, a player that coming off the left hand side, for Czechia, playing for Olympique Lyon in the French Liga. Look at how he mesmerized the Danish team, the Irish team as well in the playoff to get to help his national team get into the World Cup, something that they haven't achieved in the last 20 years. So we're looking at it how much he's going to be the ball carrier, he's going to be the skill merchant, he's going to be the outlet. If he can connect the midfield, get the ball from the deeper line players, try to connect the ball more with Patrick Schick, someone who have scored almost 50 goals in the last 2 campaigns for Bayer Leverkusen. So Patrick Schick, another important player for Czech Republic, who's going to have to get the goals if they're going to do anything or to actually get at least one of those best third spot, which will go to the 8 best third, 8 the best 8 teams that will finish third in the group stage as well. So I think Patrick Schick, 8 goals throughout the 8 games throughout the qualification round for Czechia, and 5 goals. That's roughly around 3/4 of the games he would have scored in for a beloved Czechia as well. So I think very important players, those players. But for Czech Republic, don't write this team out. They're going to have a massive shot in the game. They're going to create opportunities, the crook or the hook, by getting the ball into the box. And let's see how much South Korea, as much as they kind of physical as well, how much they can play with the ball, and how much they can defend the set piece, defending the second balls, the third balls, and how much they can clear the ball from their danger here as well. But looking at the squad starting 11, I expect to see the Czechia team, with the likes of Kovar, a former Manchester United goalkeeper as well, Chapolik, very experienced player as well, Arnik, in the back three, and also Krejci, that will be the back three. If you look at some of the teams that Czechia played throughout the qualification round, and when you look at the midfield too, have Souček and Curve, 2 very good, defensive players as well. That's very good in the air. And the wing backs, will be Jurasek and also Kufal. Him much as he played for West Ham as well. Used to play for West Ham as well at this this time. Used to play for West Ham, now in the Bundesliga for Hoffenheim. Pravod, he's going to be that one more out of the 2 number 10s that's going to play behind Patrick Schick. Will job much deeper role to help out the likes of Cherv and Souček. And Sulch, the number 15 playing for Olympique Lyon. He's going to be the danger man, the second most valuable player in this Czech Republic team. And Patrick Schick, the man that been bagging the goals over the last 2 seasons for Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga. 47 goals in all comes in the last 2 seasons. If Czech Republic going to get goals, you want to bet on Patrick Schick to get the goals for this Czechia team. At this point in this modern day, he is more likely, the likes of Milan Baros, Paul Nedved. He will be that type of player for them. And the player like Schulk will be more of the Thomas Rzuski, of this modern day. Someone that can lick the midfield, someone that's going to carry the football, someone that's going to create. And I think he have a bit more of an eye for goal than a Thomas Rzuski as well. So Kovar, let's see how much he can keep his team into the game. They didn't manage to keep a clean sheet in any of those last sets of qualification round. They conceded 4 goals in the last 2 competitive games. So that's one for watch for Young-Min Song and Hwang as well, and Lee. So the starting 11, I think will probably be out there for this South Korea team, under manager Hong. Kim in the goal, Lee in the back three, Kim, and also that's Kim Jin Jae, I think, if his name is like that, the one that's played for Bayern Munchen, leaving Napoli, and also another Lee. So that's the back three. So the 2 men in the midfield will be Hwang, Not Kwang for Wolverhampton, but the number 6, and also Lee, again a very good player as well. That will be the double pivot, and Seol will be on the right overlap, and Lee playing on the left side of that back 5. And then you have Lee, another Lee again, and also Kwang, another Kwang again, and then you have the sun that will set in the evening of Mexico. Let's see what will happen in that game. So that will be my prediction in lineups, and I think this game there will be goals. I think there will be goals as well. This game will be a late kickoff. It will be under the lights as well, and a lot more energy to be burned, especially a high intense team like the likes of South Korea. They will have the luxury of playing under the likes of thick dark cloud in Mexico to burn enough energy, and it's very important for these two teams to get a much very 3 points here, because if you look at what they will come up against, they will come up against the likes of Bafana and Mexico as well in their next game. So one of these teams get a 3 points, more likely you see that team will advance to the second automatic qualifying spot in this group behind Mexico. So much love and respect to you guys. Don't forget to smash the like button and also subscribe to the channel, people. Much love. I'm out.